At 17, I thought I had life figured out. My world was mixtapes of the Strokes, Polaroids taped to my bedroom mirror, and dreams of escaping my small town for a big city college. I'd start fresh, new friends, new me, maybe a tiny apartment with string lights and a coffee maker. Freedom felt so close, like I could taste it. I had a boyfriend, Jake. 19, with messy hair and a grin that made my knees weak. He wasn't perfect, always late, smoked too much. But with him, I felt alive. We'd drive his beat-up Chevy to the edge of town, park under the stars, and talk about nothing. He'd call me kid, though I was barely younger. With Jake, I was fearless. Then everything shattered. The pregnancy test was a cheap drugstore brand. I took it in the bathroom, door locked, heart pounding. 2 lines. I sat on the cold tile, staring, waiting for tears or panic. But nothing came, just silence, like someone had muted my brain. I stared for 10 minutes, maybe 20. I told Jake that night in his car, cigarette smoke curling out the cracked window. I blurted it out, I'm pregnant. He froze, cigarette halfway to his mouth. Exhaled slowly. For real? Okay, we'll figure it out. His voice was shaky, his hands trembling. 2 days later, he was gone. No texts, no calls, blocked on everything. Like I was a glitch he could erase. Mom found out a week later. I hadn't eaten, hadn't slept. She cornered me in the kitchen, her voice sharp. What's wrong with you? I told her. She didn't yell. Didn't cry, just stared, her eyes cold, and said, We're broke. You've got no degree, no job. You want to raise a kid in this dump with peeling wallpaper and a couch from the 80s? You want him watching you cry yourself to sleep? You can't do this, Sarah. And the worst part? I believed her. Me, the girl who dreamed of city lights, felt small, stupid, broken. She was right. I wasn't ready. The hospital smelled like bleach and regret. Everything felt like a movie stuck on mute. Sterile walls, beeping monitors, nurses' footsteps. The birth was quick, almost too easy, like my body wanted it over. When they placed him on my chest, I stopped breathing. He was warm, so small, his skin soft and smelling of something familiar, but also foreign. I stared at his tiny face, his clenched fists, and thought, I can't be your mom. I'm empty. I'm scared. My heart screamed to hold him, but my head said I'd ruin him. The next day, I signed the papers. My hand shook, but I didn't cry. In the box for child's name, I left a blank. I couldn't even give him that. 20 years passed. I'm not that 17-year-old anymore. I'm an accountant in a mid-sized firm, my days filled with spreadsheets and coffee runs. It's dull, but I like it that way, predictable, controlled. No surprises, no mistakes. I built a life where nothing could slip through the cracks again. I never told anyone. Not my college roommate, not my best friend from work. I buried that year deep, locked it in a box, and hid it where no one, not even me, could find it. Sometimes, in dreams, I'd see him, a blurry figure with tiny hands reaching for me. I'd wake up, make coffee, and go to work. Routine was my armor. Then he walked in. His name was Ethan Carter. New hire, sales team. Tall, with sharp cheekbones and eyes that seemed to see too much. He strode into the break room on his first day, flashed a quick smile, and said, Hey, morning, everyone. His gaze flicked to me, and I froze. Not because I recognized him, I couldn't, but because of a feeling, like a string in my chest had been plucked. Stupid, right? You can't know someone you held for 10 seconds 20 years ago, but there was something in how he moved, how he tilted his head, familiar, like a song I hadn't heard in decades. A few days later, I heard him laugh in the hallway. It was loud, warm, with a rasp that hit me like a punch. That laugh, it was mine. Not my mom's, not my brother's, mine. I stood there, clutching a stack of reports, my pulse racing. It's impossible, I told myself, but my body knew something my mind couldn't. I started noticing him. Not on purpose, it just happened. In the cafeteria, he'd grab a black coffee and a bagel, always joking with the cashier. In meetings, he'd lean back, pen tapping, asking questions that made the boss squirm. He was polite, sharp, steady, and his eyes, green like mine, held a quiet intensity. One day, I dropped a folder by the printer. Papers scattered like confetti. I cursed under my breath, kneeling to gather them, when I heard, Need a hand? Ethan crouched beside me, picking up sheets. His fingers moved fast, precise. Thanks, I mumbled, avoiding his gaze. No big deal, he said, grinning. You always this clumsy, or is it just the printer's fault? I laughed, a real laugh, the kind I hadn't let out in years. Then I looked at him, his smile, my smile. My breath caught, and for a second, the world tilted. I saw his name on the company board, Ethan Carter. And it clicked. Carter. I remembered the woman who took him, Lydia Carter. I'd overheard the nurses in the hospital. She's a school teacher, no kids of her own. She'll love him. I'd clung to that, telling myself he'd be okay. I Googled him that night. Hesitant at first, like I was crossing a line. His social media was public. Photos of hiking trails, dive bars, a golden retriever. Him with friends at a concert, him in a kayak, him laughing at a bonfire. His life was full, vibrant. And I realized it was vibrant because I wasn't in it. We crossed paths daily. He'd nod in the cafeteria, hold the elevator, toss a casual morning Sarah my way. Once, he teased me about my ancient stapler. That thing's older than me. I smiled, but inside, I was unraveling. He was so close, so real, and he had no idea. One evening, I stayed late, rain hammering the windows. The office was dark, empty. I was lost in numbers when I heard footsteps. Ethan stood in the doorway, jacket damp, holding a grocery bag. "Still here?" he asked, surprised. "It's a monsoon out there." "Work," I said, shrugging. "You?" "Forgot my phone." And he lifted the bag. "Grab dinner stuff. You okay getting home? I can give you a lift." I shook my head. "I'm good, thanks. Metro." "All right, but if you change your mind, holler. Don't drown out there." He left, and I stared at my screen, his kindness cutting deeper than I expected. He didn't know me. Not really. But he cared. About me. The woman who'd walked away. That night, I couldn't sleep. I opened my laptop, pulled up his Instagram, scrolled to an older post, him with a woman in her 50s standing in a classroom, captioned, "To Mom for everything." I zoomed in. Her smile was warm, proud. His mom, not me. The box I'd locked away was breaking open. Every laugh, every glance, every morning Sarah chipped at it. I started carrying his baby photo, creased, faded, in my wallet, stolen from the hospital records I'd begged for years ago. I'd pull it out at night, tracing his tiny face, wondering if he'd forgive me. One day, we were in the break room, just us. He was cursing the coffee machine, smacking it lightly. "This thing hates me," he muttered. "Try unplugging it," I said, voice steady despite my racing heart. He did, and it whirred back to life. "You're a genius," he said, grinning. Then, casually, "You've been here forever, huh? What's your story?" I froze. My story? I wanted to scream it. "I'm your mom. I gave you up. I'm sorry." Instead, I said, "Not much. Just work, life, you know." He nodded, sipping his coffee. "Yeah, you seem solid, like you've got it all together." Solid. If he only knew how fragile I was, how every moment near him felt like walking on glass. I don't know if I'll tell him. Maybe I won't. Maybe it's selfish to barge into his life, to say I'm the one who let you go. He has a mom, a life, a story that doesn't need me. But being near him, his laugh, his footsteps, his quiet humming, feels like redemption. I gave him a chance at a better life. Now I get to witness it, silently from the edges. Every day I sit at my desk, hearing him joke with colleagues, curse the printer, live. And I think, this is my penance, my gift, my heart walking outside my body.